one of the things that decision makers in companies always want before the webinar and after the webinar is, what metrics are we going to use, Mike, to measure how successful this webinar was? What should some of those metrics be?
Well, 6 key metrics. I'm just going to touch on them. The first and most important metric is what we call the click-through ratio. And what the click-through ratio is, it's a webinar metric that tells you how many people actually came to your landing page to register and either bailed or registered. The click-through ratio is the most important predictor because it tells you, are you connecting with your audience? Do they care? If your ratios are low, what do you need to tweak? But it also will give you a predictor on the next important ratio, which is the attendance ratio. How many people will attend? The higher the click-through ratio, the higher the attendance ratio. Another metric is engagement, and we use what we call online polls. We ask the audience for their opinion a couple times. They weigh in on a topic. It does 2 things. The first, it gives the audience and the speakers a sense of where their priorities are on that particular question. But what it also does is it gives a feedback amount of engagement. We're looking for a particular number. We know we should get about 70% of the audience to participate. If we're getting 70% or more, we know the audience is engaged.
Right.
If it's much less, we're not connecting with them. Another important metric would be the survey. At the end of the webinar, we ask people to do a voluntary survey. That pops up in their browser. How did today's webinar meet your expectations on a scale of 1 to 5? You want to see more 5s and 4s than 3s. If 80% of the audience gives you a 3, 4, and a 5, you've nailed it. The next metric that's important is how well did you retain your audience? We call that retention. We want to see 80 to 85% of our peak audience still on the session when we go into the question and answer, Ask the Experts panel. And the final metric is what we call viewing of the on-demand recording. We always record the webinar and we make it available after. And here's the beauty. This is why I call webinars the gift that keeps giving, because you can measure how many people viewed the webinar, either originally registered but didn't attend, how many attended and wanted to see it again, and how many were fresh new leads. And all of this is valuable intelligence in being able to approach your prospect to have a warm conversation with them. You know what their interests are. You can come and be more consultative and have a conversation with them than do you want to buy something.
Make sure you visit our Learning Center at WebAttract.com to learn more, as well as to watch other best practice videos, view some case studies, and watch our library of on-demand webinars.